now, right, Richie? Operations update.
Back to my 45-minute update.
Wait, before you start, I'm supposed to tell you you have to speak louder. Because the people watching at home can't hear
You got it. You got
or
it.
you.
You got it.
You got it.
Haley said she can't hear you.
I just want to touch base a little bit on what Mrs. Rimmick had talked about. I had a meeting with Sheriff Mobley today along with Chief Wood concerning our neighbor across the way over at 22nd. As you guys may be familiar, we've had 7 major incidences in the last 2 years involving whether it's damage to our property, theft to our property, assault to a track coach, and now recently an assault to a student. And I'm just at the point right now where I did attend the county commissioner meeting this afternoon, shared the same information with them. I want to share the same information with you all as well. And my plan is to go to the next city council and share the same information there as well. In my humble opinion, the clientele that comes and goes from that location over there has caused a lot of heartache for our school district, more specifically the junior senior high school. You know, we use the stadium a lot for our PE classes, or our football games, our track meets, our graduation that's coming up here, and just some of that clientele, they have wandered over unwanted. Our foot traffic behind that school has probably increased over 100% just in the year alone. I intentionally have my camera set up on the high school loan to notify me between certain periods of time at night to tell me when there is movement behind the high school. And I wake up every morning with numerous notifications of foot traffic behind the high school. And so I humbly believe after looking at footage, they come and go from that location there. So I, along with what Mrs. Rimmick is doing, is I am reaching out to our constituents and our governing bodies to say, what can we do? We need help here. Our hands are tied. We are the victims in a lot of this stuff. Again, this is not a complaint on any of our law enforcement partners or anything of that nature, but it is time that something needs to be done with that residence over there, and I don't know what that could be, but I am going to shout it from the hilltops until I can assure that our kids and our staff are safe. We have come up with different recommendations and protocols as far as when we have track practice over there, that gate stays locked. But we have done things to ensure to increase the safety of our kids, our staff, our property, our everything. And so with this recent event, this is again something that really, really needs attention, and I'm asking for everybody's help on that, just to kind of put our minds together to see what we can do to ensure that we are no longer victims of anything from the clientele that comes from that residence.
So, do I understand the properties in the county?
So, yeah, so if you basically, and don't correct, this is not 100% accurate, but if you basically take Smithland Avenue, 22nd Street from Smithland down to 22nd Street, if you divide that roadway in half, the south side of that roadway is considered county and the north side is considered city. It's just a jurisdictional line. That's been that way when I was a police officer. So the folks that come from that place, they come from a county jurisdiction, but then when they come over to our area, it becomes a city matter. So I know our local guys are being inundated with having to deal with the situation that comes from over there. And again, this is not a complaint on, the sheriff's office or the PD guys. We've worked with them very closely. And I talked to both heads of those departments today, and we're taking up just to see what we can do. And so, again, that has been heavy on my radar for at least the last 2 years to see what we can do about that. And unfortunately, we had an incident this weekend that took place. And so, just so that you guys are aware of that, that is my plans. I'm not going to be able to make the city council meeting coming up next Monday, as I will be out of the country. However, I plan on maybe going to that one, not the following one, the following Monday. With that being said, moving on, I've got a list of things I've talked to Crispin about. Beginning this summer, we're going to have the installation of the flooring here at the intermediate. Continue on what we have already started from on the second floor. Painting of the hallways will obviously resume here at the intermediate as well. Replacing outlets and switches and whatnot over at Ken's building. damage and replacing ceiling tiles at the high school, and obviously the roof, we're gonna hear, we'll find out from best grant on that deal. Plumbing repairs at the high school, we just got some drains and some of the urinals that need replaced, just fixed up on there. Some additional outlets and switches that need replaced at the high school. Concrete repair outside the high school gym there. We have a tree that the roots have caused the concrete to come up there, and so those are tripping hazards, so we're gonna fix those. Mainly we have some touch-ups, painting at the primary, outdoor basketball nets and hoops, backboards, I believe it's for this building here. And then I know Stacy had talked to me about crosswalks. I did have a meeting with the city this weekend and talked about getting those done, so we'll aim for those late July, early August, just so that they're fresh when it's time for school. A couple things not to forget. Obviously, graduation is on the 18th, beginning at 7:30. Ken will have his awards beginning this coming Wednesday, correct? That's 12 to 4. Orange and black ceremony beginning 2 to 4:30 at Jen's place, correct? 2 to 4. And then graduation.
Jen's is Wednesday, Jen's is Thursday.
And I believe you have already had your
Yes.
award ceremonies, and please forgive me, but I think
Intermediates is May
Yeah.
21st.
May 21st is the intermediate's award ceremony on that as well. The last thing I wanted to say, I know Jared and I have talked, we want to put together some sort of response concerning the meet and confer, and some of the concerns that have come up there. I know Mr. Schmidt had addressed what I just talked to you about, our neighbor over yonder. That was one big thing. So we are going to work on that. Unfortunately, after tomorrow, I won't get to see him for a week, and I will be out of the country for a week. I did provide Jared and the staff and all the principals with kind of my Bible as far as what they need to do in the event of my absence, such as alarms and whatnot, but they are aware of what they need to do on that. That is all I have. Any questions for me?
I know that when we had that first instance of a problem a year ago, I do know there were some letters that were written from the city. I think if you need any of us to write a letter of our concerns, so maybe we can get eyes on them faster and get a faster response, or help everybody collaboratively come up with a plan. I'm willing to do that. I'm sure-
Anything would help. You know, I don't know if some of the stuff I think could potentially fall under the health department guidelines, and talking to Dee, that might be something there. I think land management might be an issue. Coincidentally, I did talk to Joey Gasnick from the USDA, because we have a pack of dogs that seem to be coming up around the high school at night, getting into our dumpster there, but I think he's actually eyeballing those packs of canines that may be involved in some cattle mauling up in near the area. So he is actually, unbeknownst to me, I called him totally separate from this deal. He could potentially be a resource for us as well to help it as well. But again, I want to make a big deal of this because we need help. Whether it's from our board, council, the commissioners, anybody that can think of something that we can approach this, and not by any means we're not in the business to tell somebody, hey, you have to move out of your house, or you're not allowed to have so-and-so for a barbecue or whatnot. But the fact remains is we have traffic that happens at that residence that ends up bleeding over into our property that affects the safety of our staff, students, and our property.
I would encourage my fellow board members to write a letter that we can then get to Richie to help express our concerns about the situation that's been happening, and it seems to keep recurring year after year. Encourage some expeditious action to take place before something more serious happens, or we're talking about loss of life, or really a huge tragic incident that we could have got on top of and prevented. Anybody have any questions? Do we have the list of rotating building improvements?
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's the other thing I had. So Crispin and I actually started that 5-year capital improvement plan. We found the old document from I think it was 21-24, and kind of peeking at that deal. I'm pretty proud of us because pretty much everything on that thing we have completed. And they were some pretty major projects.
They were.
And so right now, as we're starting to build this, I think I forwarded it to Dee, and I think she was going to share it with all of you. But we have just started putting some numbers into that so we can start building off of that. And looking with the exception of maybe the roof at Jen's place, some of the stuff that we're looking at might just be simple improvements to keep things going. And so, yes, this is a very, very, very fresh document that we just started, and we'll be adding to that. And so we want to continue that 5-year outlook for capital improvements so that we just started that. So we will have that completed at some, my goal is to try to have that completed by, I do believe Crispin comes in August for his general report. So hopefully by then, if not maybe next month, I think I can back next month, obviously for my real side of my job portion. But we have started that project there.
Intermediate school staff in the building. How is the sewer smell? Is that improved?
I am the worst person to ask. I don't have a sense of smell, but from watching people's reactions when they walk in the building,
No, not at all.
it's been bad. And I don't know that it was the sewer smell. It's been more the bat smell in the last couple weeks. So, but there seems to be a smell issue frequently.
And I know that's a work in progress.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I
just
do
checking.
know that deal they did find, I think, the initial entry point, which was right in this room here. It seems as though maybe we may have found another one, so we'll look at that. I do know part of the sewage smell at one point was a vent pipe that was broken outside of the school. They did locate that and fix that. That did help that, but we oftentimes do have drains that if they are not exercised a lot, the P-traps will tend to give off an odor. So we did start talking to the custodians on maybe every Friday we're putting some of that mango smelling stuff down just to kind of keep that going. But we do see that oftentimes. I remember at the high school a lot, if we didn't exercise those drains over the summer, we'd come back in and be greeted with an unpleasant smell. So we are working on that as well.
Did you send out that list? No, I didn't. I haven't seen that. Can we get that list sent out?
Yes, ma'am.
That'd be great. One quick question, how did the high school roof hold up in the rain?
What's that?
How did your roof hold up in the?
Oh, it did not. Yeah, we had buckets, trash cans, everything. Actually, Jared was there today, and I was showing him where some of the tiles were gone. What's interesting is there is a skylight underneath all of the tile. So that would explain why there's a lot of.
On the second floor?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the library.
Well, there was that one. No, this is like down.
Just gonna ask somebody from that time.
I know, as soon as I said that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm opening myself up.
All of our problems.
Yeah, the one in the library is a new one. Yeah, not all collected, like there was a big puddle because we had not had there before. Yeah, what we saw today was new tiles that have fallen, and then when you look up through the tiles, there's actually a skylight up in there, but there is plumbing and pipes all the way around it, and then the false ceiling. So it's like a skylight false ceiling. It's weird.
It does look like they engineered in a way that I would not have. Again, I do not have an engineering degree, but it is odd that we do have a skylight, and then we have plumbing. It looks like I believe it's plumbing for water, electrical, and fire that all run underneath the skylight, and then below that is where we saw.
I think a lot of the false ceiling stuff came into play years ago to kind of avoid the asbestos pieces. And so at that point now it's being hidden and they're running pipes.
They had to put a skylight in to make up for lack of windows.
Yeah.
That they then covered with the false ceiling.
Yeah, exactly.
Make it make sense.
Makes no sense.
I mean, that 2 days solid of rain that we got was amazing for our farmers, but it sure woke up a lot of people that owned a building or had, who thought they had no roof issues, and now all of a sudden we're like, oh my goodness. Does that help expedite the BEST grant process? I mean, do we get to a stage where it's a critical need? Because I think we've surpassed that stage.
It's definitely something I'm gonna discuss, whenever I present the best needed grant on Thursday.
This Thursday.
Yes. Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah, it's this Thursday.
Yeah.
And so, it is something I'm going to present with. As a matter of fact, as I was walking through today, I was trying to find a plastic bottle somewhere where I could capture some of that water and just have it as part of my presentation and go, this is what my people was dealing with last week.
Have we,
Just fill some up with a little brown stuff.
have we brought anybody in from the health department? And I dare to say it out loud. If the fall ceiling is in fact covering up some of the asbestos stuff, those tiles are now exposed and it's dripping all over our students and our staff and the floor and our equipments. And at what point does that become a huge health concern?
Prior to being here, I'm not sure if we have brought in, since I've been here, I don't think we have brought in anyone from the health department. Seems like it might be a great opportunity to do that.
I mean, that's a double-edged sword because we don't know what they're going to tell us, and we hope that they give us an opportunity to keep the school open and fix the roof. But I was recently in the building before the rain, and I took a stroll around the hallways, and it is becoming a very dire situation that we are in.
Yeah.
Good luck on Thursday.
Thank you.
No pressure.
Tell them to come visit us on a day it's raining. Do we have anything else for the operations update? All right. Ms. Nelson. Financial update.
Financial update.